What's up, guys? I got Brian Jones here, our head engineer. We're going to be answering some questions about Hyperline. What was the biggest obstacle we had to overcome while developing the armor? Start with you. What was your biggest obstacle?
The biggest obstacle to overcome. It took a ton of iterating. I mean, I think that just the time to iterate and the time to have the understanding of what the bullet's going to do when it hits the armor.
When he says it took a ton of iterations and a ton of, and managing our time, one of the things that I saw and realized very quickly was that it just wasn't very time friendly, flying everything out to the lab. It was just a very slow process. So what Brian and I did, we ended up designing our own ballistic lab. We took like a couple weeks to get that built. And now we have this in-house lab that allowed us to develop Hyperline and even other products in months instead of what would have taken years at the ballistic labs.
The ballistic lab was built based on the NIJ 06 specification, which is the industry standard. So all of our recording, all of our the clay witness, velocity of the rounds as they're going down range, all of those things are incredibly important. Once we got a real handle on the technology and our manufacturing process, we're able to really leverage those in some unique ways, and that's why the product is as incredible as it is.
What's the biggest misunderstanding about body armor in general?
Interesting.
It's a broader question here.
Yeah, a lot of people think that when you get shot with body armor, you're just gonna fall to the ground and you're out of the fight. You have these broken ribs and all this crazy bruising, and that's in no way the case with modern body armor. And a lot of that, I think, just comes from movies, to be honest.
Broke my freaking rib, you maniac son of a...
It felt like someone was kind of,
Surprise!
Not at all how it is. As a matter of fact, we've had many people that were shot. I mean, we had some right here in town. A police officer was shot, and he didn't even know that he was hit twice until inspecting his armor later on. And I've heard those same exact reports over and over again. And you can see that too in a lot of these panels. I mean, this panel here, probably some like 60 rounds. Yet on the back, we don't have any massive bulging. There's no breaking of the rear layers. I mean, it absolutely dissipates the energy in all directions, and it decimates the round.
It's interesting because body armor and aramid materials specifically have really not been around for very long. I mean, they've only been around for 40 or 50 years and widely adopted even less than that. I think that there are a lot of things that are just misunderstandings that people have.
There's a lot of myths out there that just get assumed as facts.
Yeah.
One person says it just kind of compounds and compounds until over the years, it's just what everyone assumes is the case. I mean, prior to Safe Life, there weren't many companies in the world that were actually marketing to police officers, first responders, and even civilians on a consumer level. It was always kind of a very hush-hush sort of, very secretive sort of environment. I mean, even if you tried to call and get body armor in the past, a lot of the old companies, they'd say, no, why do you need this? We're not selling this. We strictly sell to police departments. It's illegal for you to have. And that's another one of the myths, that people for years thought that it's illegal to own body armor because certain companies wouldn't sell it to them, but that was kind of their own policy. So we really want to help educate people on what body armor is, how it's made, what's going on, and kind of demystify some of this as well.
How difficult was it really for you guys to get to this point with Hyperline?
How difficult was it really? Well, we had to build a lab to do this. Like, we had to figure out how to build a lab, and it's to spec. And through all that, we're trying to manage a ton of different projects. And when it comes to armor, how big is our team for armor?
A couple dozen, maybe.
A couple dozen? A couple dozen? Who else is on the team beside me and you?
Oh yeah, for development. Yeah, for development, just us.
Where the hell are these people? Yeah, so our team for development is 2 people. It's 2 of us building labs, building processes, trying to figure out what we're doing, ordering materials, ordering all these things. And
it's stressful. It can be stressful.
Yeah, and we both take totally different, I have totally different approaches to everything. So coming up with a compromise to a lot of this stuff is...
Yeah, and that's a part of the secret sauce that went into a great final product.
It's true. Well, what do you think?
You know, at the very beginning, we weren't sure. We knew that there were some things, some archaic technologies we wanted to move away from, such as stitching on the panel. In the NIJ test, it has to be how many inches away from the edge? Several inches away from the edge?
3 inches for 44 mag, and threat 1 is 2 inches.
Yeah, so oftentimes manufacturers will put a stitch 1 inch from the edge. That's a weak point in the armor. We didn't want to have any weak points in the armor whatsoever.
We went through a lot now that I think of it, but we'd fail at certain things. You know, our first times at the lab, nothing was quite working, and then we come back and we're like, what are we gonna do? We don't want to stitch, we don't want to do this, how are we gonna hold it together? And then we just start throwing materials into equipment that nobody's played with before.
Yeah.
And we go, this looks amazing. I guess it was a difficult time, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I think it was something we were built for.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
We're made for this. What is like your greatest impact, in your opinion, to Hyperline?
I really like the memory seal on the carrier, or on the waterproof seal. You know, we sourced a really great material for it, and we found we had a goal. You know, we wanted the panel to not have any air in it. We looked at a bunch of different avenues for achieving that, and in the end, we were able to modify an existing process, and now we have this proprietary seal. It maintains its shape, and it gets more pliable over time while still retaining those amazing backface deformation performance characteristics. So after the development of this product, what was the innovation that you think was the biggest impact that you personally brought to the product?
It was when we started playing with heat and pressures in non-conventional materials that normally you don't see together. That was really the big game changer for us. How can Safe Life get better? So there's always something next. We moved into this building and built this whole place so that we could have a playground for innovation, for us to have the capabilities and resources to be able to build stuff like this. This is just the first of our creations to come out of this place. We've only been here like, what, a year at this point?
Yeah,
5 months, something?
not even almost, yeah.
This is just the beginning.